Hello Mundo Enneagram, my friends. I am Uranio Paes, and now it's time for us to talk about Enneagram Type 9. This is month 9 of the year, September 2017, and therefore we want to talk about Type 9. I apologize about the background here in this video shot because I want to take advantage of a long flight I'm making and record this video so that it do not take longer to post it for you, students of the learning community on Mundo Enneagrama. So the two main concepts, as always, to understand each personality are the passion and the fixation of personality. Passion being the emotional vice and the limiting feeling that comes as a pattern, repetitive pattern for each of us, and also the fixation, which is a limited belief and limited view of the world that also all Enneagram types have. For nines, the passion is called sloth and the fixation is called indolence. I do believe that these two concepts are very often not very well understood, so I intend on this video to tell you a bit more about how I see these concepts and from them how to better understand nines without stereotyping. So sloth to me has nothing to do with lack of action. Actually, I think it's useful to talk a bit about the virtue of type 9 so that we then can understand the passion. Virtue is the higher emotional display that nines have when they are in touch with the universal heart. So the virtue that nines accede to is called right action. What is right action? Right action is when my spiritual heart is open, when my higher emotional center is open, I develop a very big willingness to do the thing that is most needed around of all things possible. So it's a willingness to commit to doing whatever is needed the most, and it comes in the singular, not the plural. There is only one action that's really the most important one, and then nines identify that not with the head but with the heart, and together with an unstoppable willingness to go do that with all possible energy. And what I mean about all possible energy is that when we are in touch with the spiritual heart, we are not talking about our individual energy only. We are talking about the life force itself, and for life force coming from cosmos. And nines connect to that and go and do that without a blink. So this is right action. So in comparison, what is sloth? Sloth is the loss of right action. So sloth is wrong action. Wrong not in the sense that it's bad, but in the sense that the person is not doing what's really needed. The person is getting diverted and distracted in doing everything else. So my concept of sloth is all possible action in the world, but the right one. I personally don't know many nines that are not into action often. Nines are the center of the instinctual triad on the Enneagram, and what I see is that they are almost always in action, but the problem is what kind of action are they in? They are mostly in mechanical action, in routines, and in things that bring them away from what's truly needed. This is sloth. Sloth is connecting to a lack of willingness in the heart, in the lower heart, of doing the work, inner work, of doing whatever will impact the most not my life and also life of people around me. So it's very easy for a 9 in personality to go do something simple that someone asks him or her to do, but it's not easy at all to go do the thing that will be the differential for self and for others. Because sloth is a disconnection from the willingness to do inner work itself. And therefore, sloth has a lot to do with the sleep state that we talk about in spirituality, the state of self-forgetting that all of us have to fight if we are committed to growing. And what is indolence? Well, indolence is the fixation or the limiting belief or the mental pattern, lower pattern of type. And indolence has to do with putting oneself in the second place or even in the last place. I become the last priority. I don't look at myself as being important, and therefore I don't prioritize myself. And this can lead to behaviors like not taking good care of myself health-wise, or for others it's not this, but it will be something like not taking care of my career and taking care of everyone else's career in business, at work, wherever I work at, and then leaving my own priorities aside and for later, and in practice never coming to be prioritized. Indolence also has to do with the stubbornness that tends to be bigger for 9s than for other types, coming from what we call passive aggression. So type 9 in indolence, type 9 person in indolence has this tendency to leave whatever is important for self for later, not prioritize it, forget about it, and not to want to show off, not to want to get compliments, not to want to be to come to self and to really become relevant, important, or get recognition, approval. So 9s that want to fight this limiting mental pattern need to practice showing off a bit more. Also need to practice putting attention on self in what they can perceive it as being egotistic, selfish, but perhaps will be something important to go against the ego-driven tendency not to look at self. And indolence also has to do with lack of self-care and lack of self-worth. So this is all related to indolence. And if we want to understand 9s, we need to understand that indolence, and mostly sloth, have to do with not only not putting attention to self and going to do one's own priorities, but also to start new processes in what Gurdjieff would call start new octaves, or to start a new cycle of law of 7 on the Enneagram. And therefore it's not true in my view that the only kind of sloth that 9s have is the sloth of not doing what is important for self. So I do believe that it's important to understand that sloth is not only related to not doing things for self, but also related to not doing things for the system that are important to happen, especially in the start of new processes. So what is crucial in many times is to have someone pushing things to go beyond where they are right now, the current state of things. And 9s can make a huge difference when they are in touch with essence in terms of this, like going to do whatever is needed. And and not only for self. So in sloth, nines lose not only the ability to do things that are important for themselves, but also the ability to start new things for the planet, for the community, for the family, for the friends, and for people around, for the team. And so sloth has also a connection to doing whatever is important to help the whole system. And this is to start new cycles of law of 7 on the Enneagram, which is something we talk about in other materials here on Mundo Enneagramma. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more on Type 9 here in our learning community. Bye.